Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk Atlas Earth, Sunday afternoon sessions, as it were. Thanks for dropping by. This is Bronze Dragon, where we talk Atlas Earth every Sunday afternoon here in Eastern Time. And as Donnie just pointed out, it's evening time over by him. So thanks for dropping by, Donnie. And good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be in this fine world. I do appreciate you stopping by. Please remember to leave a like on the video. And if you are not subscribed and you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, please become a member. Okay, well, let's dive in. I'm sure everybody wants to talk about how their monthly challenges are going, because for me, the monthly challenge order, I can see where this monthly challenge is really evolving. And it kind of took me, not kind of, it took me a few more days than I guess I can say the last several months. It's been progressively taking me longer and longer and longer to complete the challenge ladder, and I think that's probably what they want, right? That's probably what they want. They're evolving the challenge ladder system and kind of stretching it out more, so people probably are more active in the games and such for a longer period during the month, instead of getting them done right quick, right at the very beginning, and then basically the attendance in the games kind of slacking off. But then again, this last here in the States, last week we had a issue with the golf game, and I think everybody else did too, but it kind of impacted us a little differently. The golf game impacted those in Europe and other while it was happening. And what happens was they took the golf game down, and I believe they redid it the next day for everybody else who was impacted on that side. But then what happened was, or no, sorry, fishing was impacted. That's what was impacted. And then we ended up here in the States getting bowling again instead of fishing, which basically left fishing on everybody's ladder and let everybody else complete bowling even further. So it was kind of, things go wrong. They got to work on them. So I hope everything's up and running fine. I'm still trying to get used to this new system. I'm just, as far as streaming, trying to improve my streaming. It's taken a while to get used to, because I have two different streams, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and switching back and forth has become a problem. So I'm trying it out for the month. If I don't like it, I'm going to try a different one. So let's jump into the comments and see what everybody is saying. Um, Donnie says, good evening. Well, good evening to you, and thanks for dropping by. Uh, Donnie ended up with fourth in bowling. Nice, nice. I never really place. I just do enough to go ahead and complete what I need for my challenge ladder, which I did end up completing yesterday, because the purchase parcel were kind of buried for me, and I depend upon that for a lot of my points, because I save up and then buy the purchase parcels to get as many points as I can. Anyway, I got the fourth level yesterday, well, the night before, and then yesterday after my stream, I was able to go out and buy the last chunk of parcels, which I'm going to do an update video this week. But I am finally sitting at 1,500, which here in the States is at the top of the 3 times multiplier tier. So what that means is I've got this I'm at the top now, and I'm in a savings mode now, because I don't have the exact numbers, but it's about 225 to 250, somewhere in there, where I'm going to need to go ahead and save up like 240 parcels, something odd, so that when I jump into the 2 times multiplier, I won't be taking a heavy hit loss on what I'm earning. So that's what I'm up against now, and I probably won't be able to. I'll have to do the challenge ladder next month without buying parcels, because I'll be in savings mode still at this point next month. But that's kind of what I'm up to. Still getting used to this new chat system. So let's go ahead and move this over. Darren Harper's in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by, Darren. Darren says, good morning. Hey, Arbin's here. Welcome, Arbin. Arbin's always floating some good vibes out there. We can always use those, especially here in the States and how things have been going here. David's here. Good morning to you as well. Brandtastic's in the house. The fantastic Brandtastic is here. Always glad to see Brandon. Always brings also a good attitude to the house as well. David says, or good evening. Yeah, we have people from all over the world here. So Kathy's here. Welcome, Kathy. Thanks for dropping by. Always good to hear from Kathy. Let's see here. Darren says, yeah, I got the tasks, but I don't need like book travel and state badges. Yeah, same here. I had book travel and that just kind of stayed up and clogged up a spot. Although I am thinking about trying to do the, did you know here in the States you can buy movie tickets? Thank you, Arbin. Arbin put through a super chat. Very nice. Appreciate it. Let's get a little bit. And the memberships for my channel just really go to help support me, keep me going in producing Atlas Earth content. As you know, the regular ads and stuff don't really pay a whole lot. And YouTube is kind of squeezing it down, so we're making less and less. Either way, thanks a lot, Armin. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Hey, it's Sherry is in the house. Welcome, Sherry. Thanks for dropping by. Let's see here. Annalise says fishing, not golf. Yeah, I had corrected myself. NE Cards. Hi. First time in a live stream from Atlas Earth Discussion. Well, welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Always love to see new names stop by. Let's see. They go on to say, how do people complete the ladder so quick? It's nuts. Well, my time has actually been extended because I used to depend heavily on the AMP program, and I still use the AMP program somewhat. However, the available AMP providers around me have really shrunk. And I know people outside the United States are, you don't have it. So I'm just basing my completion of the ladder statement on that, right? Because basically the things that bring Atlas Earth or the Atlas Reality more money in are weighted heavier. They give you more points because they earn more money off of like surveys, like the AMP program, like purchase parcels and things like this, right? Whereas the ones that are like games and stuff, they don't make much money if in some areas at all off of it. So, we do have the ads and those count, but a lot of that stuff goes to the pot as well. So with that said, my time, when we first started, well, not counting November because that was a very hard month. At the beginning of this year, when they modified everything heavily, I was completing it in about a week. And now, as they've changed things, I was at 13 or 14 days this time, which I'm not, and also my attitude on it has really changed. I think that the people that got on Reddit and were saying, "Oh, great, I completed in one day," really heavily affected how the team made it progressively a little bit harder. But my whole thought process now is as long as I get it completed in the month, I'm fine. But I do like to still have my parcel purchases planned out ahead of time so that they're structured. So I'm not going to, like I said, next month, I'm not going to probably be able to buy any parcels because that would make me break tier. And although I'm breaking tier into the 2 times multiplier, which, one of the benefits of going into the 2 times multiplier is at a certain point after you hit your break even, then you just don't have to worry about tier jumping anymore, right? But there still is that first break even point, and it's pretty hefty. You do end up losing a good deal of money. I'm going to end up making a video on this after I complete that tier jump and show you exactly, well, it's not really a tier jump. It's a jump to break even. That's a better way to state it. I'm going to go and figure the numbers and show you exactly how much money I would have lost if I would have broke tier. But everybody plays different, and that just goes to say that I've progressively taken longer and longer because the team is they're changing it, all right, and they've always said it. They're looking at the numbers on the back end. They're seeing where their ad viewership and how everything else is going. They probably got numbers on every single thing, right? And they're adjusting it to kind of make it where their business needs are, right? So every business has forecasts for their business. We want to make this much extra profit next quarter, etc. And by trying to adjust these, like I said, I think one of the biggest things is also, especially with the mini games, get more steady attendance in the mini games over the months instead of having a really heavy attendance the first 2 weeks and then the last 2 weeks having very small attendance, right? So anyway, that's for me. Debbie's in the house. Debbie says, yeah, I did have some issues with fishing, but it's all good. Did have issues with regular boosting with the vids, then went several days. I don't think I've had a whole lot of issues this month, although I will confess, the first time in more than 16 months playing, I missed my collection this morning or yesterday, and because there was a lot of other things going on yesterday, my daily thing reset, my daily ladder, which I was about halfway through, reset. So I will confess to having done that, which I usually get as soon as I roll over in the morning. I usually click it. But I was more worried about the changeover. So I had two challenges going: collect regular, boost regular, and I only had one more boost to go. Then the super rent boost kicked in, and the super rent boost, I had a challenge for that as well. So I completed that, and obviously the super rent boost, turned off in the middle of the night for me. And when I woke up, I was more, I guess, on top of my mind was completing that other challenge to try and complete my ladder. It didn't end up completing my ladder, but by putting my attention on that first, I forgot to collect my daily, thing. So anyway, things happen, right? Sherry says this month has been a bit slower for the challenge ladder. I also noticed the purchase parcels have been buried. Yeah, same here. I was like, usually, I've talked about this before. Usually, I piled up and did a bunch of other the challenges, and then I let the purchase parcels stack up. So when I drove over to purchase the parcels, I could get one or two, maybe three levels done at one time. Well, that didn't work this week or this time around. Todd's here, says I've been playing for about 3 years now. Wow, you got me beat. Like I said, I'm about going on March last year is when I started. 17 months, between 16 and 17 months. When I hit my 1.5 year point, I want to do a special video on it. Also, I want to mention that I'm sneaking up on 5,000 members on the channel, so that's kind of like a waypoint for for YouTube channels. It's slowly getting there. So if you're in the audience and lurking, please join if you like to watch my content. If not, why are you here? But I appreciate it. Let's see here. Any card says I'm 15 days into the Explorers Pack bonus. Okay, so you bought the Explorer Club for this month. I have spent some bucks on the passports, which have allowed me to get into 10%. Nice. I'm saving the rest to jump to 100 parcels from 49. Hopefully, well, nice. All I say is look at the numbers, especially look at your tiers. Let's see here, over here on, it's directly linked in the app, but you can also go to the Atlas Reality support website. And what I say is, whatever country you're playing for, take a picture of the chart on your phone. Keep it on your phone. You can usually pull it up, but it comes in handy, especially it's easier to access. You open up your photos and you've got it right there, and you can look right at your tiers. Just have a plan. That's all I say. I know some people are much different than me. And also while we're over here on this page, you can see that I did my numbers, and this is where I also laid down I remembered when I was over there buying parcels to lay down two LPUs when I was over there. So I broke the 150 a day mark on average. So I'm at $1.53 a day on average. Although I picked up 25 parcels yesterday, and not one of them was legendary. There was like 3 epics, but no legendaries. Now I did lay down the 2 LPUs, which gave me two legendaries, but I didn't turn over any. So anyway, that's what I was up to the last few days. Darren Harper says movie tickets. Yes, actually, if you're here in the States, you can go under Atlas Travel, and the AMC movie theaters do have tickets available, and you can get the Atlas bucks for the movie tickets, and that would count for your travel challenge, oddly enough. I don't know, maybe when they redo things, they'll have a different category for it because it's kind of not really travel. Um, but it is one of those things that's in there. I have not used it. I have went in there and looked at it though. And just make sure you use the credit card you have on file. Well, go through the travel, use the AMC deal there, and then make sure you use the credit card that is on file for the AMP program, and you should get credit for it, and it should count for your travel program. My wife and daughter and I like to go to the movies once in a while, so just thought I'd bring that up. Brandon says, "I love your new chat system. I like it too. It's in fact, it's one of the reasons why I went and started this new. It costs money to use this program, but it adds a few features that I haven't been able to do otherwise." Kathy says, "I wanted to buy more parcels and badges this month, but my ladder has been clogged with mini games." Yeah, I know the feeling. I am only about 5 points away from completing. That's nice. So I guess I'll be playing the next game and be done. Yeah, it's nice to go into a mini game and say, "Oh, I just need to do that. Just get this done," and it's over for the month. Not that I dislike the challenge ladder. I like it. It's just that there's kind of like this weight off your shoulders, and you can go back to like your normal activity once it's completed because you've got the LPU and you've got the badge and everything. So I'm in any card says I'm in England. I find that the ladder is very difficult. That's why I opted for the Explorer's Back. I can understand that. Living in, I can understand completely because I've talked with people from outside the United States for months and months doing this show and this channel. It's a completely different players. What do I want to say? It's just completely different when you're outside the United States playing this game, a completely different effect. So I will say that, my big picture on this game is that your goal is really to strategically get to the 2 times multiplier tier, right? And here in the States, we do make more Atlas bucks because the ads and everything do make a lot more money for the company. It's just basic logic, right? But in a lot of countries, they also have to buy less or fewer parcels to make it into the 2 times multiplier. Like I'm at 1,500 about to cross over. So anyway, yeah. And you know what? There was I was going to save this for I did a video a week or two ago, and the topic was, see, anyway, the point, I'm having a brain fart, but the point was the fact that making it to the 2 times multiplier and depending upon the super rent boost in game for your Okay, for your money during the month, which is how it is right now. We used to just have one SRB a month, and now we've had two a month for quite a while. And that's where the majority of the profit is gained once you get up to. Um, wow! Hey, Darren Harper sent a super chat. Thank you, sir. Let's get a little bit of crowd applause going there. Let me know if you can. Thank you, Darren, for supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. Okay, so the idea really was, or the video was about not exceeding that first tier and just ad, leveling up all your parcels, say in states. 150 is the top of our first tier, staying at 150, staying at that 30 times rent boost, and just making everything a legendary. And I did all the numbers out and everything. And what I came away with is it's just not worth it. Okay. Unless you are a person that is, you have to stay at home. You don't get out of home very much, you know. But the one comment I wanted to bring up on that, and it's interesting, is the fact that somebody had pointed out that said, well, that depends upon the super rent boost. And this is true because all the profit, once you exceed and get up to the 2 times multiplier, all your profit comes from that super rent boost. Now, if the company decides to do away with super rent boost, we're screwed. Okay. Because the people early on in the game with the 30 times tier or whatever your highest tier is are going to be making that's then the boost is the majority of the money you make, right? But I also feel that if the company did that, they would be signaling really the end of the game. Okay. And I'm not saying the company's there. I'm just wanted to bring up that point that this whole tier jumping to the 2 times multiplier, which is basically the end game, right? And then once you get past that and that first break even point inside 2 times, then you can just buy whatever you want. But that's all predicated on the super rent boost, right? If those go away, then I still think that if the company did decide to do away with the super rent boost or even one of them and come back down to one, we'd be making a lot less money. But that would be signaling pretty much the end of the game because there wouldn't be any incentive for people to put money into the game, right? So let me know what you think of that comment. David said, I completed November's challenge ladder with 9 hours remaining. It was very close, right? It's like that A&M and Notre Dame game last night. Whew. Very close. But you got it done. Pascal is here. Welcome, Pascal. Thanks for dropping by. Says, hello, Bronze Dragon. Good afternoon from Ireland. Well, welcome. Good to see Irish folks here. Notre Dame's one of my favorite teams since growing up, and I had to watch an excruciating loss to A&M last night. It was so close. Any card says I'm only on 620 points on the ladder. Well, everybody plays different. You just got to try and play as much, learn the ladder if you haven't been playing it too long and learn what you can do and what you can't do. That's all I can say. But there are multiple ways to get points that don't require you to go just one. Without the AMP program, it is a little bit harder, but everything else pretty much is available. Lady Sharon's in the house. I watched your stream last night. Sorry, was not too talkative because I had it on, but like I said, I was watching the Irish be beat by A&M, and so I was running back and forth from the office to the living room. Lady Sharon says, good morning. I currently see 32 viewers and only 5 likes. Remember to like. Yes, please do. And what she means is on the stream below the video where there's a like and a subscribe button and a join button, press all those. Debbie's here. Debbie says, yeah, it does seem to take longer to get to break even on tier 5. Yep. Preview This is in the house. Welcome. Good to see you, or good to hear from you. Arbin says, for 15 days, I closed 1 year in the game. Oh, congratulations to everyone has many years. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's like having a little birthday, right? I actually have to go back and remind myself once in a while and look at I've got so many videos. I've got like over 100, probably 175 videos at this point on Atlas Earth now. And I have to go back and look at when the first one was, because I put it out like right after I started. Todd says, I think Atlas Earth is spreading out way faster than they should. I'd rather see Atlas Earth spend more time and money getting more of the game perfected and problems solved than expanding. I think that's what you meant. Well, I'm obviously they're trying to expand to get more downloads and more people watching ads and spending money, and that's business, right? That's just business. Um, Yeah, I haven't seen really, they've talked about a bunch of new stuff coming out, and Annalise keeps saying that they're working on a bunch of stuff. And I believe you. I mean, they've been talking about it for months and months and months. I'm just waiting for some new stuff to hit, right? So we can have more stuff to talk about, right? But as far as the bugs, I don't get a whole lot of bugs on my end, to tell you the truth. A lot of the stuff I see people complaining about or talking about in chat is due to poor connections, poor internet connections. And a lot of times that can be resolved by rebooting your phone or taking it off, putting it in airplane mode and turning it back on. Because a lot of the stuff like depends upon ads to download, and then you can get into your game. And if you have a very poor connection or a very weak connection, it's going to take a while for that ad to download, and or it might get stuck. So there's a lot of variables there. I'll just say I don't. There a while back, several months ago, I was having weird loading issues where it would get to like 93% or something like that, and then it would stop and stop and stop. But they fixed that, and I haven't had that for quite a while. Paul's here. Welcome, Paul. Says, good morning. Thank you for the video. This Atlas Earth strategy earns more. Stay on tier 1 and upgrade. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah, I think that buying all the LPUs on the first tier is just a huge use of money that it would be better spent towards just buying parcels, basically to wrap up what I said in the video. I proved it with numbers, but like I said, and somebody pointed out after the video went live, that is predicated on the super rent boost staying in effect. Without the super rent boost staying in effect, then that is incorrect video. But we have nothing to say that they're thinking about taking the SRBs away. It's in the terms of service that, logically speaking, they can change the numbers in the game however they want. So, yeah. But like I said, at that point, if they start taking SRBs away, then we know that the game's not doing great. And to make your purchasing decisions logically. And I think if they do that, then there's just not going to be any motivation to go ahead and put money into the game. So. Arvin said, I had the membership club. Nice. Yeah, I like the challenge ladder. I do not do the Explorer Club. I do think that the Explorer Club offers a better value than just outright buying Atlas Buck packages. Definitely. I did a video on this a while back where I compared the numbers. So it is a better value than just outright buying packs. And I would probably think about it harder if I lived outside the United States due to the differences in play. I crossed more. I'm making more than $50 a month. I don't know. I just don't want to give up that $50 a month. So let's see here. Donnie says, I completed the ladder on Wednesday. I'm in the Netherlands, but I am now at 485 parcels and only making 7.5 cents a day. And if I boost, it's 2 times, so 15 cents. So only keep boosting when it's SRB. Well, you know, everybody has a different idea on that. You know, I can understand what you're talking about. But to me, still, two times is better than one times. But yeah, I can understand. It's less critical on your to-do list, right? Once you hit the two times, because most of your money comes from the SRB now. Lady Sharon says, I'm currently a little over 380 on the ladder, trying to do arcade stuff and miffed at one of the games recently. It has 3 days left and suddenly all levels are hard, so giving up on it. Yeah, I figured this out. Over time in the arcade, the games have kind of changed. It used to be easier to get more points. Now the points are very much harder to get. And the games, you have to really look at them because a lot of times these games are kind of, what do they call it? Bait. They're baiting you into the game because it says, "Oh, win 750 Atlas bucks." But when you look to the end, it's like uh, you have to go to like level 3,000 or something like that. You know, they've really stretched out the levels on these games where I think most of the games, especially, and also they've taken away a lot. I haven't gotten a game lately that does not have like the 90-day limit on it. We used to have games, and I still have games that have no limit on it from early on in the arcade that I'm still working on once in a while, right? Um, but the ones that are 90 days limited, a lot of times there's just no way. Even if you sat there no lifing it all day playing that game, there's just no way to complete that, right? So what happens is you have to, work your way through the game, trying to get your challenge ladder for it as well, but also trying to do it on the day during the week where you're getting a bonus, right? Um, but at a certain point, you're like, you have to make that decision. Yeah, I can't do any more of this. I have to go ahead and delete the game and work on something else, right? Because it just does not make sense. Completely agree with you, Sharon. And they've changed. You know, it's just gotten progressively harder to make Atlas bucks out of them. I'm not saying it's impossible because I have. It's like, let me. We've talked about this last several weeks, but I've been working on the Disney Solitaire, and I need to do my ad. But let's see here. Let me pull it up. I downloaded Bingo Blitz this last week. It's all right, I guess. Um, okay, so this is the one I've been working on lately. And what happens is, you know, it shows like I'm getting here to level 10, you know, you only have to go from a level 8 to level 10, but every level progressively gets longer and longer and longer, you know, so it does take quite a while. Now, it does give a little bit of a nice, like I got 59 for completing going from level 6 to 8. And that probably, it was definitely several hours worth of play, not back to back to back, but it was, once in a while on a daily basis opening up because it's these kind of games restrict you on how much you can actually play. You can't just sit there and keep playing, right? You get the free bucks for, every few hours, once an hour or something like that. And then you have to pay in to play a hand. And that's how they restrict you on how much you can play. So they are artificially limited. But it's not just this game, it's a lot of different games these days. So let me do my ad while I'm thinking about it. Jump back into chat. Okay, let's see here. Todd says they are expanding with a half complete game concept. I don't know. I guess there's different ways you can look at it, Todd. They are making a lot of changes. Supposedly, they think they're working on it. It's interesting the way they're taking the game and his overall what they're doing with the game. But we'll see when it goes live, right? Okay, let's get back to the main screen right there. I can't really make a I don't know. I mean, the game's been going for years, what, 3 years now, maybe a little bit more, and it's just kind of been brought ahead. At the very beginning, it was just watch ads and buy land, and now it's so much more. Like I talk about it, so basically an umbrella that has many subsystems underneath it, right? That fit in like the arcade and such. Um, Myself, I don't see a whole lot of problems with the game, so once in a while things crop up, but with any program, with any software, you're going to have that. So any card says, I find the latter too difficult, so focus on the Explorers Club. Well, I mean, everybody plays different. You just have to try to dip in and try everything within the game and see what you're good at making points off of and just go with it. Like I said, everybody plays a little bit differently. Donnie says my game starts when I reach over 1,000 parcels. Pascal says I completed the challenge ladder this month on day 4. Still feel it's a bit too easy. I don't think it's too easy, and I don't know how you did it on day 4. You must have been no lifing it doing it straight. I think that the fact that people are completing it in 4 days is forcing the company to make it harder on everybody else. So especially people who play free to play, in other words, don't you depend heavily upon the mini games, which if you depended heavily on the mini games, there's no way you could complete it by day 4. Clint is here. Welcome, Clint. Says, I got a standard solitaire game that seems pretty easy. Once in a while, some easier ones pop up. Let me go back into games, and I will go into the games I have completed. Okay. Let's go into that section. Now, just from my point of view, Hexastack was pretty easy. I've played a few of these type of games, was pretty easy to complete. Match Jong was pretty easy. Bubble Rainbow, it's one of those bubble shooting games, was pretty easy, but there was not a whole lot earned off of it. Drill and Collect was pretty easy. Clockmaker, I completed pretty easily. A lot of those have been several months ago, though. Merge Dragons took me quite a while, and it's not showing completed, but I did complete it. Any of these play now that are under here, I did not complete Farmville 3. That kind of expired. A lot of these, some of these you're seeing under my completed, were ones that I completed, but I had to put a ticket in because they didn't register right. I liked Top Troops, and I completed that, and I didn't have a problem with that because I liked the game. Animals and Coins I didn't like. Idle Zombie Miner, it was all right, but I could never complete it. There's another one of those bubble games. Bubble Pop Cannon Shooter was okay. I really don't like merge games. I've got this whole thing against them. Of course, Tetris, old school. It's kind of like old school Tetris. Die Streams took me forever to complete. Train Miner was okay, but a lot of these that I say are okay, and I completed. It's just have very low, what you earn off of them. And then for some reason, I've had these two pop up, which I see people, talk about this in chat once in a while. And they say, you can't be rewarded for this because you've installed it before. When I know entirely that I have never installed those, so I just didn't fool around with them. I just turned around and downloaded something else, deleted it, and downloaded something else. So, and I usually only download at the beginning of the month when there's a new challenge ladder and there's an arcade challenges up, and then on the day where I'm getting a bonus for the actual arcade. Janice is here. Welcome, Janice. Says, like you, trudging through the ladder, keep telling myself it doesn't matter when. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Obviously, there's this thing in the back of our brain that says, oh, complete it as fast as possible, get that LPU. You can lay it down and start earning a little bit extra money. But in the big picture of things, I would say not worry about it. Like I keep saying, everybody has a different way they play. Just stick to your plan and try to go through it, and as long as you have it by the end of the month, then you're good. I mean, I still say that I did this video way back where I looked at the numbers on paying to subscribe to the challenge ladder. And if you pay the $10 to do the challenge ladder subscription, then as long as you get about 70% through the ladder, you've earned more in Atlas bucks back than what you paid in for subscription, way more, right? So the value is there. If you can complete at least 70% of the ladder and subscribe, obviously anything extra than that is just, lanyap, extra icing on the cake, right? Plus, especially if you get that LPU. Lady Sharon asks Pascal how he did it in 4 days. Todd says, you got me beat on number of parcels to me. Yeah, I've just been, like I said, I just made my plan and it's been modified a little bit, especially I modified my tier jumping plan whenever the challenge ladder started in November. There have been some periods where I had to sit in the below the break even point for a little while, but I try to make those time periods very short. And I try to make my way to the break even point as fast as I can. I don't like being in that losing money kind of section. And as you go up in tiers, the tiers actually get bigger. So it gets harder and harder to do. So you just have to kind of make a plan and stick to it as best you can, right? Lady Sharon says, I mean, nothing really goes tier one through tier four right away, and most everything is blocked with mini games. Yeah, but that's strategic, right? I think one of the goals since they've changed the mini games from paying for it to ads, like I said, one goal I think is do what they can to encourage participation across the whole month as much as possible, because those mini game pots are directly related to how many ads are watched, right? And if the population of people that are playing the mini games towards the end of the month goes down, then the pots go down too. So I think that's one battle they've been fighting. Um, Skip says the new season challenge is too hard. Half the month through, and I'm only 500 points in. Well, keep at it, Skip. Like I said, you just got to look at it and look at the challenges and do what you can do. Um, Pascal goes on to say, being prepared with arcade games, having a few close to the next reward helps out these challenges out of the way quick. Having some rent saved to convert and Atlas bucks to buy parcels too. Yeah, I mean the rent to Atlas bucks conversion is pretty heavily weighted with points. I do the first two tiers, one Atlas buck or $1 and $2, and then I don't go above that. If you went up and did the rest, then yeah, you could get a lot more points. And he's right. Uh, and I did that at the beginning of the month. Um, I try to have like two games that are positioned to be right before getting an award, so that whenever the new month clicks over and I get those challenges, then I can go in and I can clear those pretty quickly, because those give you a pretty decent amount of points too. So he's right there. Lady Sharon says, I also hope that if they can't fix fishing, they can drop it from the ladder. I don't really want to bowling again. Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much gone through bowling again today, and I don't have it on the ladder right now. I think I have, yeah, I think I have bowling for today. Yeah, bowling in 3 hours and golf in a day and a half. Yeah, it's going to make it people. It's going to make it a lot tougher on people due to their issue with fishing. Right. It would be nice if they popped out the bowling for today and put fishing in its place. Richard says in Louisiana we don't have the movie tickets option. Oh, really? You don't? Hmm. Let me see if I can find it on here so I can show you. So if we go under Atlas Travel. Okay, I'm in Atlas Travel. Let's try to find the movies. Okay, so right up at the top, you say instead of hotels, it's parks and tickets. And this is where here in the States you can buy park tickets. And if you scroll to the bottom here, it's movie tickets, AMC movie tickets, up to 25% off. So that's what I'm showing. So make sure that you hit that tab up at the top to the right if you're not seeing it. I don't know. Maybe they just don't have it in your area. Do you have AMC theaters down there? Um, it's been about 13 years since I lived in Louisiana, so I don't really remember. I guess if you don't have any AMC theaters in your area, you wouldn't have the option. Any card says it can be done in the UK, but it just is getting the LPU at the end is always the issue when doing free to play. I only buy it if I'm one away from completing the ladder. Oh, interesting. So you're going the 14.99 route. Yes, more expensive, but don't feel bad if I miss it. Yeah, I can understand that. And even, I did the numbers early on, and even at 14.99, you're getting way more than your value for your money. So, and of course, we're talking U.S. dollars, not pounds or euros. So, um, Lady Sharon says it did go do the first arcade fine. I did the first arcade fine, but it didn't go to the next tier of arcade. Yeah, they jumble them up until recently. Also, I'm at a weird part right now. Can't buy parcels without tier jumping. Yeah, I understand. Sherry says your audio drops during the applause. Unfortunately, I don't really have a way to control that. I'll have to fool around with that more. I have some sound effects now I can use. Just trying them out, just doing stuff, trying to make things better. Pascal says it did take a while to get the second tier challenge, but other than the mini games, I don't leave anything sitting when I can do the challenge. Brandon says, is it possible to do a short in the background of your stream? To do a short. I don't understand that. Hey, Caveman's in the house. Welcome, Caveman. Always good when you're dropping by. Says, good morning. Best thing about Atlas Earth is the lack of politics. Keeps me coming back as a relief from the chaos. I completely agree. My streams are game related. Although I am thinking about I'm at 18 or 19 members of the channel. I'm thinking about when I hit 25 to do a monthly members only live stream. And my topic here is that we can talk about anything, but I stay away from politics and religion. The old saying is my two standard streams are game related. Anything's game as long as it's game related, right? Or once in a while onesie twosie off questions, right? But never politics and religion. The old saying is the fastest way to kill a party is to bring up politics or religion, right? So Brandon says, got a big question for you. Well, shoot. Arbin says, I comment long time ago. I hope no things change in the game for the worse. Well, That's the one thing with life. You can always expect change. I just always bring it up because it's in the terms of service, and people need to understand that this is a game and not just a lot of people look at it as an investment. But you've got to understand that they are going to make changes in the game to try to extend the life of the game. It's a business after all, right? And some of those changes might mean that we make less money, So I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that they're doing that right now. I just say the possibility exists. So the option is always there for them to adjust stuff to try to make their game more popular, to make more money, right? Um, but I think if they removed the SRBs, they'd be shooting themselves in the foot. DJ Dub Stomps in the house, another member of the channel. Thanks a lot for supporting the channel. Says aloha. Are you in Hawaii? Be pretty early over there, right? Brandon says, is it possible? Here's Brandon's big question. Is it possible to have over 1 million Atlas bucks? And how long do you think it will take to get there by watching ads? Oh, wow. Doing Atlas surveys, free side of daily login bonus, diamond wheel, and free. That's an interesting question. I might have to do a small video on that because that's not something I can do the math on right here in the live stream. That is a lot of Atlas bucks. And I don't know, maybe Annalise can ask, is it possible to get 1 million Atlas bucks in game? I don't know. I don't know what that ticker goes up to. If you're on this stream and you have had a large number of Atlas bucks, comment in the chat what's the highest amount of Atlas bucks you've had. I know it goes into the multiple thousands because I've done 20,000 Atlas bucks before. That's the highest amount I have saved up, and I saved those up to do a 200 parcel buy, which I did a video on, I believe. And I think that's the most I've ever saved at one point. So, but that's an interesting idea. I might do a video on it. Who knows? I don't know. That would take certainly a long time. Speaking of that, I'm looking at two different chats, but Annalise says absolutely you can get 1 million Atlas bucks. It would be a lot of saving or a lot of money. Arbin says because a lot of people work hard and invest hard. This is true. I mean, in today's society, I think we're working longer hours, and sometimes just having a little bit of a break. A few minutes here to play Atlas Earth before you go back to your regular work can give your brain a little bit of a rest. And a lot of times, since COVID hit, I know I'm going out a lot less. I mean, I still go to work and go buy groceries and stuff, but life is a lot different than what it was before COVID. We got used to kind of doing more in-home things and ordering out instead of going to restaurants and stuff like that. So my point there is that leaves us with a little bit of extra money that you can, instead of using that money to go down to the pub, right, you can put it into game or something or other. Annalise says, I will be doing an announcement on Tuesday with about new stuff. Oh, Annalise is tempting us, throwing a little bait out there, trying to reel us in. Okay, Annalise, I will be looking forward to that. And when I see that information, I guess you can kind of count on a video coming out thereafter with that information. Now, I'm very interested. Pascal says low end phone or low memory can also affect issues. I completely agree. And I've about this before because I think that's one of the reasons why they're redoing the UI and the way things work, because I think that the new artwork style will be easier, less compute requirement. So a variety of older phones can handle the game better. And to whose point was that? Somebody was making a point about the Todd, I think, was making a point with the game issues and everything. So I think as we I'm talking like I'm with the company. I'm not with the company. As the game expands, we will find ourselves in more countries that, um, let's say this. I don't know how I want to say this. Android is the primary. There's a lot more people on this earth using Android than Apple phones, and there's a lot of people in this world that cannot really afford to use a relatively new phone. They have to get a lot more life out of their phone. So redoing the game can make it open for more people across this earth that actually the money they make off of the game can really improve their lifestyle a little bit more, right? Whereas I'm playing it for fun and I'm playing it as an experiment and for something for my channel to cover and everything. Sometimes there's some people that might be playing this where this buys their dinner or something like that. So I'm just saying, and I'm not casting aspersions. I'm just saying from the artwork and the UI being improved, that in the back of my mind is one of the reasons why it the artwork is easier for older phones to run, right? Okay. Donnie says today I had no problems with mini games with advancement for the 2 hours, so they are improving. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on because like for months and months, the mini games ran pretty solid, and then here lately we've been having issues. Is it due to them working on the mini games in the background and trying to, like they said, they've been saying that they're going to be redoing the games, revamping the games somehow. So I'm wondering if they're working on them in the background, and once in a while something flubs up, and somebody, sometimes, from a development perspective, you try to test everything as much as possible in a sandbox. Um, but sometimes something gets pushed to live that shouldn't have been pushed to live, right? So. And Todd says they still have problems with the surveys. Well, that's also one of those things that is run by a third party company. So while there are problems with and I say problems, it's just sometimes it's tough to get a survey that wants you to take it, right? Because you're not the right demographic. But that's a third party company that runs those surveys, right? Um, so he did admit that there's some, I think on the last town hall AMA type thing, that he did admit that's one thing they're looking into. But they only have so much leeway. It's like, do you want to use the survey system or not? I think that they are also looking into another provider for surveys, which would provide more variety, I guess. I do know in the last couple months it's been tougher for me to find a survey. There was several months in a row which I had good luck with surveys, and now I'll go on. I prefer when I can to take them on the website because it's easier for me to take them on the website, right? But I'll sit there and I'm like, hey, here's some juicy surveys, a lot of Atlas bucks, and I'll go through them all, and they'll be like, no, we don't want you. No, we don't want you. And those don't really annoy me. The ones that really annoy me are the ones that you get in and start taking questions, doing questions for 10 minutes, and then they kick you out and don't give you any, one or two Atlas bucks. Those annoy me. Pascal says, I only do surveys for the challenge ladder and works fine for me. Travis is here. I almost said Travis. Travis is here. I think you're the first Travis I've ever talked to. Says, what about staying on tier 1 and buying badges? Well, I always talk about this. I leave the link to Tasty Wallet's new user strategy guide in all my videos. I say take a look at that because really it just takes it makes sense, logically speaking, to spend your money or spend your Atlas bucks on parcels at any one time, and then at badges at any one time. In other words, what's going to make you the most money at any one time? And he breaks it down, and obviously it changes depending upon what country you're in. But in the big picture of things, um, ranking up in badges is always going to help you, right? Because the badge boost is in effect at all times, not just when you're boosted, right? And I always default to buying badges if you're going on a trip, because that's the best time to buy badges. Because, we've talked about this a number of times. When you're buying badges around your home area, it gets progressively harder and harder to find badges. You keep having to drive out further and further. I know myself, if I want to get a badge, I'm sitting here in my house, I'll have to drive about 35 to 40 minutes to get a badge, right? Whereas when I was on a trip, well, it was a long drive here a month ago. It was like an hour and a half drive. Then I bought my badges to level up to the 20% tier. Um, just because I was out of my normal area. Best time. If you know you're going on holiday or vacation or business, and you're going to be out of your local area, that's the best time to buy badges. Doesn't matter if you're in between tiers or whatever, uh, buy your badges, because ultimately it's going to help you down the road. FC24 Hub, welcome to the show. Love to see new names. Says, hi, literally watching you now from the Colosseum in Rome. Oh, nice. What's going on in Colosseum? Life is crazy, but Atlas Earth is always a priority. Love from Scotland. What's going on in the Colosseum today? I don't know. I've never been. I've never been over there. That's obviously you've seen it in the history books and everything, but very cool. Are you just visiting, going on holiday a little bit? Arvin says the company should put 4 times super boosts. We deserve that. Yeah, obviously that plays heavily in the numbers. I'm sure that they're doing what they can do. Like I said, within the last year, they went from not having super rent boost to 1 super rent boost, and now 2 super rent boosts, which has kind of been the median. So I'm happy with 2 super rent boosts, but more than that, obviously everybody wants more money, right? But you've got to look at the numbers and what will keep the company floating and paying Annalise's paycheck. Todd says the selling of land will eventually be back. Atlas Earth won't pass on the 20% of each sale, but they should have thought about all the possibilities before they put it into the in-game concept. Yeah, I've put this out in a bunch of videos. I think it should come back. In any land type game, you should have the ability to sell, because the whole idea was buy a parcel down the road, hopefully, especially people who buy parcels strategically in certain areas, thinking that the value will go up, and resell it. And obviously, that is not really in play at this point in time, but down the road, as parcels start to run out, if they do, obviously this will happen fastest in the big city, high population areas, right? But when it does, having the ability to resell your parcel for profit, it's just kind of part of the land game, right? The basic principle of a land game, right? And I think that they thought about it to start with, and that's why they developed it and put it into the game, right? But obviously, they didn't foresee what people were going to do with it, right? And you know. It only takes one bad apple in the bunch to ruin the whole bunch, right? So hopefully it's back. I agree. I want that back. Preview this says, always look at the game before installing. Have a look at what the reward's going to be on each level, as some are not worth it. I completely agree. Some are not worth it, especially you look at it and you look at the tempting, Atlas Buck rewards. Then you see, oh, you have to hit level 3,000. That's an automatic no to me, like I said, these games have progressively gotten harder and harder to earn, to complete. I haven't completed a game in months, just from the fact that now the games I've largely completed have been ones that don't have that 90-day limitation on it. I have completed some of the 90-day ones, but that's being super concentrated on them, because like I said, what's required to complete them is often very high. So very high use of time, rather. Debbie says the one thing that seems kind of useless after a point is the diamonds. After you get to a point, like a few thousand, which would take years to go through, collect them, there is no reason to collect them. Yeah, I agree. that seem to be. Now, I'm not one of those people that go complaining about the using the wheel or anything, because when you really think about it, that wheel is just anything to do with diamonds is just free given by the company, really. Now, the wheel does have the 2 ads where they make a little bit of money back, but anything, they've always said that they're most likely not going to do anything else with diamonds. But that kind of seems like one of those systems where they put it into play and something else could be done with it. And that's why people talk about it a lot. At the end of the day, it's just a few free Atlas bucks on most days. Once in a while, I haven't hit the 50 and I haven't hit the 50 or 15 in like 4 months, right? But once in a while you get that. I usually get 4 or 5 Atlas bucks a day. It's just free Atlas bucks. But you're right. After you hit a certain number of diamonds, it's just no point in even collecting them. But every time he's asked about it, he says that's just what it is. Kathy says, I downloaded Block Oduku. So it's a block and a Sudoku game. The other day when they had that promo, it was super quick to get the 3 missions done for the ladder. Oh, cool. If I see that pop up, I'll have to take it. I like Sudoku. I generally like the puzzle games better than like the joining thing games and stuff like that. Robert is here. Welcome, Robert. Says, good morning. I'm here. I'm late. I am so far behind in chat. It's in this new program. It shows me that Robert said that a half hour ago, but I've been going through and trying to talk to everybody's point. Brandon says, I've been underestimating the Atlas surveys, thinking they're not that good, but I've been doing them and getting them Atlas bucks out of them. So, yeah, I mean, I can get through a few surveys, but like I said, I really hate it when they do that whole 10-minute intro part and then just kick you out. Preview this says, that was quick for me. Merge Dragon was really quick for me. It took me a bit to figure out how to actually do the game because I started playing into the game. If you do Merge Dragons, it's all about staying on that home screen and just merging things. They want you to go out and do different missions and stuff like that. It's all about just getting, just merging up your dragons and doing that. And it just took me quite a while to do that. But it also took me a while somebody had to actually tell me about that. Robert says, talk a little on the game Zombie Miner. I have had my phone on that game nonstop forever. Need to hurry. Today's my deadline for the 2. Yeah, I ended up getting pretty high in it. I just could not complete it in the 90 days. Preview this says, what was your reward for Merge Dragons out of interest? It's been quite a while. I'd have to check it out. Let me go and look. That's one of those ones I downloaded early on. And that's also one of those things where I completed and it didn't really complete correctly in game. So this was one of my early on games. Like I said, just go back to my point that things have really, I don't want to say downhill, but they've really scaled back the amount of Atlas bucks you get for games. So you can see that at level 15, I got 132. At level 30, I got 173. At level 50, I got 133. At level 70, I got 143. And when I completed it, I got 475. But once again, that took a ticket to go ahead and get that out of the game. I seem to kind of regularly have to put in tickets because something about the I guess the games, when you complete the certain reward, certain levels, it doesn't communicate correctly with the Atlas Arcade or something or other. But you can always put a ticket in, and I've had good luck. I'm doing my 20-minute ad right now. I've had good luck out of support getting, and they've streamlined that whole support system. Whereas you can put in a ticket really easily, just put your two screenshots in and get your reward. I've usually within two business days, I've been able to get that. Okay. Lady Sharon says, I stopped replying because I didn't want the stream bogged down with back and forth, but I suspect some weird unlocking rules at the latter. Would you be willing to share the complete part? Well, they've been changing that around. What things are this, Annalise used to keep track of that. And since she's become um, uh, an employee of Atlas Earth, she had to stop doing that. But they're changing where everything is structured and basically trying, in my viewpoint, they're trying to make it so it takes longer for people to complete the challenge ladder on a monthly basis, so they can earn more, on ads and such, but also to encourage more participation in the game for a longer period of time over the month, instead of having like this last week of the month where like nobody's playing the mini games and such. Wait a minute. Atlas Arcade has been doing that to me, but after about 20 minutes of playing, the error notice guess goes away. Interesting. That's talking about like whenever the game pops up and there's this pink box that says, hey, you can't play this or get credit for it. Lady Sharon says, on Bronze's Discord, that would help me understand. Yeah, I do have a Discord channel that's separate from the official Atlas Earth channel. I've got the link in the show notes of this, all my shows, so you can click on it and join. Um, and if you're talking Atlas Earth, just go in the Atlas Earth channel. Pascal says, I can't get on Discord, but I'll do it on Reddit. Donnie says, Tuesday on what channel? And then she goes on to say, she puts her announcement out on Reddit as well as in Discord. She usually does. They're in an announcement section. And in Reddit, they're at the top, pinned at the top under the announcements. Fun Games is here. And I needed to click through my ad. My 4 clicks to get through that ad. Okay. Fun Games has a question after I get this repositioned. At what point you think Atlas Earth will go out of business? And do you think we are going this point? Well, to directly answer you, I don't know, because the game, the last time I did a video here a few weeks back, the game is doing well. From all numbers that we can see on the internet, the game is doing very well. And I've talked about this a number of times, but that's why they're, redoing the UI and basically most of the game, right? At this point, if a game was not doing well, they wouldn't be doing that, right? They wouldn't be putting a lot of money into improving the game. They would just be, taking the profit as they can and kind of riding it off into the sunset, right? But they're improving things, or at least, they've been talking about that. We haven't seen anything in the last several months. Annalise has got a announcement for us this week. That's why I haven't been putting a whole lot of videos out, because I've run out of really things to talk about. If you have a good idea for an Atlas Earth video, let me know in the comments of one of my videos. And I look at all the comments and try to reply to as many as possible. So I think the game's doing very well. And I don't have an idea on how long the game will be around. It's just like I always like to talk about. It's a game. Don't make your financial investments dependent upon this game. I don't have anything about spending the game. People spend money in regular games that just give them a pink bunny costume or whatever, whatever it is, with no money back. At least in this game, you can make extra money off of it. Of course, putting any money into the game, I have to say this, it does have a long payoff period, right? But yeah, I think the game's doing well at this point, and I hope it goes on for another 5 years at least. I wouldn't make any long-term investment plans on the game, though. So Darren says, I don't have AMC near me in Louisiana. That's probably why you don't have the option. But keep in mind, if you go on a trip and you're out, you're on vacation or you're out somewhere else, they might have AMC and you might go check out a movie if you need to get the travel program, get some extra Atlas bucks or knock that travel off of your challenge ladder whenever it happens. Lady Sharon says, also, I don't see fishing on the event map at all currently. I don't either. I don't have any further word on that. Annalise would have to give us an update on it. Clint says, there are more theater options than just AMC. I've seen Cinemark and the UEC as well. Well, it's probably location based. That's all I can say. More than likely, like the rest of the AMP program, what shows up is like stuff just around you. So I don't have any further information on it. It doesn't surprise me that it's not available in some areas, though. But keep in mind if you go on a trip, Richard says, I found the movie tickets. I was looking under AMP by mistake. Oh, yeah, it is under travel section. B5V says, be prepared if there's a change, but ultimately it's all about having fun. Completely agree with it. Agree with you. If I wasn't still having fun with the game, I wouldn't be playing and covering it. But actually getting into the game, having fun with the game, starting covering it on my YouTube channel over the last year has made it more fun. But sometimes it kind of is a little bit hard coming up with new topics for videos. It's one of the harder parts, right? So. DJ Dub Stomp says, I'm in LA, Lower Alabama. Used to drive there through there all the time coming out of New Orleans and driving over to take 65 up, right? So used to have some friends that live in Alabama too. Lawrence says, why would you even want to think about earning 1 million Atlas bucks free to play? Yeah, I think he's just throwing out questions to, make an interesting chat. One of the things that happens although we always have a great chat here, especially if you're on a live stream and there's very few people out on the live stream, it's hard to keep a discussion going because, a few interesting questions thrown into the chat kind of livens up the chat. Right. But yeah, it would, to me, it'd be like next to impossible. And first of all, why would you want to save up 1 million? Because you could put that stuff to good use before you got to 1 million and be earning more money. But good point, Lawrence. And we talked about this before. Donnie says you can buy 3.2 million Atlas bucks in the store. So yes, it is possible. Yeah, that's that top question or top package. Arbin says, where can I find the Atlas Earth t-shirt? Arbin, and I'm jumping forward because I had seen that just pop up on my YouTube chat. If you go into the shop on Atlas Earth, then you can, it's right here. And I have 2 of them. And this shop, people across the world, no matter where you are, this is the one thing you can do to use the AMP program. So if you have that AMP program challenge, if you buy a shirt, like I bought a shirt, I bought a coffee cup, I bought a couple shirts. I like these shirts. They're nice and soft. I haven't bought anything else. I like the look of a hoodie. Although I never wear sweatshirts or sweaters because I would be sweating. But yeah, go in here. You can get 6 Atlas bucks for every dollar you spend. They're $24.99 US dollars. And then what you will probably have to do is put in a ticket with a picture of the receipt. And if it's not directly credited to you, always keep the receipt for the AMP. But the answer to your question, Arbin, is I bought it off the website and I did it for one of the challenge ladder AMP usages a few months ago. So let's go back. Okay. Okay, you are welcome, Armin. And I know I'm skipping back and forth in chat because uh, due to answering and talking about what people are chatting, I'm like a half hour behind. Janice says, I list AMC and Regal. Nice. I would like to, I go to Regal more than I go to AMC. I'm going to have to check into that further to see if I can see Regal. Um, Clint says, if you are looking for a good price for performance on your phone, the Galaxy A series is really good. I'm Apple, um, and my phone is not new. It's like a year and a half old, I guess. But I usually only upgrade my phone when they go out of when the company no longer pushes security updates to it. So with Apple, that's about 4 years, 5 years, something like that. Although they really try to sell you phones as soon as possible. They want you to buy a new phone every year, but most of us can't afford that. So Donnie says, can you also do a live stream combination with Bronze Dragon with an update? Would be great for this channel. Oh, you want Annalise and I to do a live stream? Preview This says, the only problem I had with mini games today is that I didn't win. Yeah, I know the feeling. Hey, Alfie's in the house. Welcome, Alfie. Says, I have just reached 10% badge and got 200 Atlas bucks from the daily login. Nice. Nice. Preview This says, I have noticed a lot of the niggles in the third-party providers. Atlas Earth itself is great. Yeah, and the problem can be on their side. The problem can be on the connection to the Atlas Earth app. There's a lot of variables in there. It's just amazing that this game is actually working, the way it does. Brandon says, instead of upgrading all your commons to legendary, why not upgrade half of your commons legendary and then tier jump and repeat? Yeah, I think we talked about this last week. I still don't think the numbers would work out. I think the only time that upgrading all your small amount of parcels to legendary or even half of them would be if you just don't get out very much. If you're homebound, or if you live just in your home, you don't get out much. Then it would make sense to buy what you can buy around you and upgrade what you can, right? But for most people, I would say that the numbers worked out that that 2,500 Atlas bucks you spend on an upgrade is better spent buying 25 more parcels. Lawrence says, I only focus on surveys for the challenge ladder. Then if I disqualify, I get the 2 Atlas bucks and challenge credit. Yeah, same here, mostly. Some weeks when I don't have the challenge ladder, I will do a couple surveys on the day of the week that you get extra survey bonus. I believe it's Tuesday, um, just for some extra Atlas bucks. But if I go through a couple and I keep getting disqualified, I'll get fed up and just turn it off. HBK is here. Says, does the amount of challenges change every month, or is there the same amount of challenges every month? Do they add on more challenges towards the end of the month? They don't add on, but they do change from month to month, and the points do change from time to time. So the points have changed. We're at 1,600 now, but has been lower and it has been higher. So it's one of those things they're adjusting, and they are changing the way the challenges are put out. So there are more tiers of challenges. So everything is in flux. So they're trying to change it for different business reasons. And I think they're overall trying to change it to make the game better. But like I said, it is a business at the end of the day. So they're trying to change it to make some extra profit too. So Donnie says, I think Annalise is making too much money, and we as Atlas Earthlings have to pay for it. Well, with the amount of hours that she is online, whatever they're paying her is probably not too much. That woman is online more hours than I am, and she's much more high energy than I am. She's answering questions in the main Atlas Earth channel, and then from time to time, she jumps over into my Discord channel and answers Atlas Earth questions. So she's working a lot of hours. So Pascal says the fourth tier was added last month, so there's definitely still change. Yeah, everything's in flux. That's what you can expect. That's what they said. They've said this all along. Expect uh, they're not going to get to a point where the challenge ladder is set in stone, and that's how it's going to be. It's just always going to be changing, you know. So that's why they call it a challenge ladder, right? If it was easy to do, it wouldn't be a challenge, right? Preview this says, I like the diamonds only because it gets me out more. Yeah, true. Arbin says, I love this game and I will love it more. Hopefully the new changes go into effect and everything works out good. And their vision of the game just kind of, evolves. The game has evolved since it started and it'll continue to evolve. Lady Sharon says, I'm happy for some of my ad viewing to pay for Annalise's salary. She is our spokesperson, which most games don't have. That is true. You know, we have a very good relationship. We have several people we can talk to if you have questions and stuff on the Discord or on the Reddit, and they're relatively very forward with answering your questions and stuff. And it's a lot of games, to Sharon's point, you can't get in touch with people, and they don't have AMAs from time to time to answer questions, and they don't answer questions to people like me who do videos on their topic and everything. So I agree. Lady Sharon says, I wish diamonds can be given away. I'd take some. uh yeah. Then we could like spread the diamonds around a little bit more. um Hey, it's Sherry, says Donnie's out there trying to get banned. Excuse me. Arbin says the best YouTube channel. Well, thank you much, Arbin. I appreciate it. I try. Preview this says no wonder mine was so quick, nowhere near those figures. Pascal says, wow, more than 100 for levels. It's even rare to get more than 100 Atlas bucks total for completing all those levels here. Southern Coin Hunter says, I have put in tickets for Toon Blast. No luck yet. When you put in you have to go through the ticketing system and go under I didn't get my Atlas Bucks for my game. Put in your two screenshot of the requirement, um, you know, that you need to meet, and then a screenshot in game of what you actually had to do. And then they ask you in the little form there what you had to do. So in my experience, it's been 2 business days, but good luck on that one. And Annalise says, did you put in a ticket to Atlas support or support in the arcade section? If it's in the arcade section, do Atlas support. Yeah, I agree. That the Atlas support are the ones that have gotten back to me. Pascal says, is it possible to enable the subscribe bot on the subreddit so you can get a notification whenever you post something? I don't know what that is, so I will need to do some research. And then Annalise just asked Southern Coin Hunter to reach out to her for help. Like I said, once again, this isn't something you get in most games. Robert says, doesn't the shop need a credit card? I only have a debit. That's why I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. I used a credit card. Don't know on that. But I do know to use the AMP program. Well, that gets in the whole discussion about using a debit card, and sometimes places run it as a credit. If you use a debit card, like at a restaurant or something on the AMP program, and they run it as a credit, you can get credit for it. But if they run it as a debit, you don't get credit for it. There's financial differences there. Some places run it as a credit for, I think it's cheaper on them, maybe one way or the other. Obviously, everything is different depending upon where you live and what bank they use. So, but like I said, always keep your receipt in case you need to put a ticket in. Southern Coin Hunter says, I like to go to Checkers for hamburgers to get my Atlas bucks. I only went to Checkers one time when I lived in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I had the worst hamburger ever handed to me. The thing wasn't even cooked through, and it was so bad I just had to turn around and throw it out. And that's the last time I went to a Checkers. Random statement there. Annalise says, at Rob, I use debit all the time. Lady Sharon says, I think the stream is lasting longer than the Splinterlands one. Yeah, the Splinterlands one goes for an hour. We've got more people on this one too. And speaking of that, we are at an hour and a half, which is where I'm going to cut it off. I do appreciate the good chat. I do want to say hi to Ann because Ann dropped in. Says, Ann gets the last word. And once again, thanks for supporting the channel. Ann says, I'm hanging at 149 parcels and can see the game's popularity in my neighborhood. Many players and own parcels springing up. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I can see even over the last year, almost year and a half I've been playing, I can see more and more and more, especially when I have to drive downtown or something like that. Then I can see a lot of parcels being bought up. And obviously, higher population density areas are going to go first. But I want to thank everybody for dropping by, and thanks for checking out my content on YouTube. As always, please like, subscribe, and think about joining the channel, because when I hit 25 members, I'm going to start up doing a once a month members only live stream. So with that said, I hope everyone has a great week, and I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy, because if you don't have health, you don't have anything. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Otherwise, I'll see you in Atlas Earth.